What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with some more Vampire Survivors content, and as always, be sure you check the links down below in the description. Twitch link if you want to catch me doing Vampire Survivors runs live, or any of the other numerous games I play. I assure you there's something that you will probably enjoy. We play a lot of different games and have a lot of fun with it, and there's a lot of cool people to talk to. So check that out, and make sure you're subbed to the channel. Getting closer and closer to 3,000 subs, and it'd be a really cool number to hit. So hit that subscribe button. There will not be a shortage of content. I can assure you on that. Now, that being said, what do we have today? We have a development roadmap overview for Vampire Survivors, which we are going to be talking about because it's actually pretty cool. So here's a TLDR picture if you want to vibe with that, but we're going to be going into the nitty gritty depth, not just the TLDR, because TLDR is for people, most people who probably just look at the TLDR and are like, oh, I have all the information and I can leave, but that's not us, baby. Let's get this thing rolling. So overview of the roadmap to 1.0. Obviously the game is currently in early access. It's not to 1.0. And when Vampire Survivors first released, it was estimated to be at 60% completion. That was back in like December. And that was with 7 characters, 22 weapons, 12 power-ups, 1 stage, and 23 achievements. And then thanks to the overwhelming success, that has now changed. It has essentially doubled the amount of stuff that he wants to have for the 1.0 release. And as you can see here, this is the new current goal is playable characters 24. We are currently at 15. Weapons and evolutions 32 out of 48. Power-ups 18 out of 20. Normal stages 3 out of 5. And special stages 2 out of 5. So it's about 70% completion now for the new 1.0. But that also doesn't even include the content that the 2 new major game mechanics will bring to the game. The first one that we see here, Arcanas, which is coming in April, mind you. And that is very close. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us will be coming in April. But anyways, Arcanas are right around the corner. They arrive in April and will unlock a whole new level of viable builds and power creep, which is extremely exciting and extremely interesting because it looks like a trading card of some sort, which interests the hell out of me. So I'm very excited to see what that is, honestly. And instead of the story mode, which was mentioned in early access notes, we'll be implementing a new major gameplay mechanic, but which one is yet to be decided. It'll be with some kind of endless mode being the main candidate. Endless mode. Cool. Very pog. Very exciting. Potentially. Not guaranteed, but it is the main candidate for another big gameplay mechanic. It doesn't necessarily mean that the story mode is gone forever, but the deep lore of Vampire Survivors requires a solid grasp of theoretical physics to be fully appreciated, so maybe environmental storytelling and subtle hints are the way to go. Please don't take anything from the last paragraph seriously. Don't go digging through the game files for lore and deep psychological meanings behind everything, because I'm sure you're not going to find it. But the next big thing, and honestly one of my favorite things to talk about, is this paragraph right here. So talking about the new engine, performance issues, and promised features pushed back. When it was first launched, all I wanted was to have a little game that would allow me to have fun making new game content in my spare time. Thanks to the support and some luck, the game turned out to be a huge success. Getting help from some friends to try to fix all the issues deriving from such a huge player base got soon unsustainable. So, started a parallel project to port Vampire Survivors to an industry-standard game engine with the help of trusted freelancers. The port to the new engine is going smoothly, and the game is already fully playable, lacking mostly in polish and content, but we also ran benchmarks that show a tenfold increase in performance and so in frame rate. And as it'll go on to say, essentially, the game on the new engine will be able to run smoothly pretty much kind of regardless of your build, like your PC build, assuming you can actually run the game, because right now it'll talk about how it can only use 1 CPU core regardless of your CPU. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference if your game's super smooth or not. But on the new engine, it'll be able to utilize your computer more and actually run much better. So we'll explain it some more. The port is going well. The port going well is the reason why a few features promised back in January have not been deployed on the current version yet, like key remapping, increased responsiveness when switching screens, localized text that fits the available space, and etc. It's more time effective to implement those things directly into the new engine. Same goes for worrying about game performance and hardware compatibility. So it makes sense. They're not worrying about game performance right now because they're worried about porting the game to a industry standard game engine, which will hopefully solve a lot of those issues anyway. So rather do it once than do it twice, essentially, which just makes sense. So having some of those things pushed back is good, and I think makes complete and total sense. While there could be a lot of stuff getting drawn on screen in Vampire Survivors, the real bottleneck is the physics calculations that are stuck only using a single CPU core, which is why not even having powerful modern hardware guarantees a smooth gameplay. The list of hardware includes the Steam Deck, when the game's performance dipping to an embarrassing slideshow near the end of a run, while other graphics intensive games run at a buttery 60 frames per second. The new engine will ensure Vampire Survivors runs like butter too, which is great. So at the end of runs, you'll be super smooth, not a lot of lagging, and hopefully very clean 60 frames throughout the 30 minutes of a run, and potentially beyond with an endless mode. They're aiming to release the version on the new engine in the summer. The executable will be completely different, but save data will obviously be moved over, as would be expected. Mobile version is something interesting to talk about. Vampire Survivors originally released on Android in just a couple of test markets, but it ran terribly. It was so bad that he just decided to stop developing it and move to PC. With the new engine, the game will be perfectly playable even on mobile. So, mobile version, not only good for, playing Vampire Survivors on the go, but adds a whole new player base of people who maybe only play mobile games to the community, which is obviously a great thing. In the meantime, if you want to play on the go, there's the Steam Deck option, of course, but I'd also recommend, once again, to play Magic Survival on Android, which is the game that inspired the original prototype of Vampire Survivors. So, if you want a game similar to that on mobile, there's an example right there. The rest he talks about another game right here. If you want to read about that, it's not super intriguing to me, so I'm going to skip it. But we'll read this last little part. When developing Vampire Survivors, I wanted to focus exclusively on gameplay and having fun, which is why I let the available sprites or just about the first thing that comes to mind to influence any aspect of the game. With playing games being my main hobby, that the first thing came to mind very often turned into a reference to some other game I love, either consciously or not. For example, I've realized recently that the no-nonsense approach of mash a button to start playing immediately, the spacebar, of the main menu came from playing One Step from Eden a few months before starting to develop it. Or there's a cheat code, gives you exactly 2,800 gold coins because that's the same amount you get by cheating in Kagero Deception 2. But the list of influences goes on. So pretty cool to read just a little bit of backstory about it. Also, I don't know what this cheat code is, but now I'm intrigued and I might look it up. So regardless, very, very exciting future. The Arcanas look extremely, extremely interesting, and I can't wait for the 1.0 release of this game in the future, and I can't wait to see what other types of things happen with this game. I'm sure with the giant community, there's hopefully going to be some potentially incredible mods that can happen with this game, and having a stunning, well-made, well-executed game with a giant, very talented community on top of it just makes the game exponentially better. It gives it exponentially more longevity, and I am very excited to see, what kind of happens with this game going forward. And hopefully you guys are too. And all of it will be covered right here. I can assure you pretty much every single update we'll be covering. And I'm really excited to try the new one that is actually I'm about to go unlock everything for right after I'm done recording this. So let me know what you think about this roadmap. Let me know what you think about Arcanas. I'm really excited to see what happens with it all. But thank you guys for watching. Check out those links down below. As always, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Plenty of content coming your way. Thank you guys so much for all the support, as always. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.